Reserve University, Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah, Cleveland, there's one Cleveland guy. He was commissioned through the Aviation Officers Canada Program in Pensacola, Florida. Captain Dykhoff's operational background includes tours with two F-14 Tomahawk squadrons, VF-154 and VF-24. Greg, you recognize some of those numbers?
I do.
I thought you would.
Only the best.
An assignment as Operation Officer of Carrier Wing Number 9. Executive Officer and Commanding Officer of Strike Force Squadron 97, flying the FA-18 Hornet. Executive Officer of the USS Nimitz. Commanding Officer of the Fast Combat Support Ship. You got it. Okay, see, you're with it. And Commanding Officer of the USS George Washington, CDN 73. During his command tour with the landing experience of Top Hook and battle efficiency, Captain Dykhoff participated in the closing phases of Operation Desert Storm and during the subsequent deployments to the Arabian Gulf, participating in several different phases of Operation the Southern Watch. During his tour at Nimitz, the ship emerged from the first ever refueling of a Nimitz-class carrier, transited around south of Africa, and she changed home ports from Norfolk to San Diego, returned to full operation capacity. During his command tour, USS George Washington, the ship prepared to transfer the ship forward deployment naval offices and forces in Japan and transitioned to the Straits of Magellan en route to Yokosuka. Yokosuka. Sorry. In the late 1980s, Captain Dykhoff managed the F-14 flight testing and Navy Aircraft Test Center in Patuxent River, Maryland. I'm from Baltimore, so I know that area. Projects in which he was involved included tests determining the high-speed quality of the aircraft's suitability for the F-14B Super Tomcat before it was delivered to the fleet. Captain Dykhoff was instrumental in researching the ground attack mission for the Tomahawk when he served as project manager for the Evolution, dropping bombs from the F-14 for the first time in the Patuxent River since the early days of the Tomcat program. Captain Dykhoff served as Flag Lieutenant to Commander, U.S. 6th Fleet, when his position was held by the Vice Admiral John Pruder. During his tour, Captain Dykhoff was selected to serve as NATO Liaison Officer to the United Nations Bosnia and Herzegovina Command in Sarajevo, where he co-authored the air operations ordered to uplift the siege of the Sarajevo in February of 1994. Between the squadron and ship command tours, Captain Dykhoff was ordered to the Joint Staff of the Pentagon, worked in operations, directorate of the Central Command areas of responsibility. He was closely involved in briefings and staff work necessary to successfully execute the Operation Desert Fox. In addition to having primary responsibility for other classified projects, other staff positions included when he served included Readiness Officer for the Naval Air Force and Chief of Staff, Naval Air Force, U.S. Atlantic Fleet. Captain Dykhoff is a graduate of U.S. Air Force War College, U.S. Navy Test Pilot School, U.S. Fighter Pilot Weapons School, Top Gun, Joint Forces Staff College, Air Command and Staff College, Nuclear Power and Prototype Schools. He holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Electrical Engineering and Applied Physics and a Master's of Science in Systems Engineering. He is authorized to wear the Legion of Merit, Joint Meritorious Service Medal, Air Medal, Joint Combination Medal, Navy Combination Medal, and other awards. Subsequent to retiring from the U.S. Navy, Captain Dykhoff owned and operated a small business, worked as a consultant to a programming, designing his first drone to operate from aircraft carriers, and served as director of modeling and simulation for the U.S. Missile Defense System. And he's getting ready to take on some new challenges in the near future. Had the opportunity to spend time with he and Lisa, his beautiful wife, and they're great folks. And Captain Dykhoff, we welcome you to the podium at this time.
Thank you, sir. I clearly should have given you a condensed biography there. But I appreciate it. Hey, first, I just wanted to thank the organization for inviting me here. It is such an honor, and I've so much enjoyed seeing the things that you all are doing, and that's keeping a great ship alive. So good on you for that, and particularly for this event. David, Vic, Rich, And Bill, I know no one could do justice to all you've done for this organization, but these guys.
Yeah, wait for Bill.
I'm sure there were others that were involved in this, but please, a big hand for the guys that put this thing together. You know, as I was considering my remarks for this evening and trying to figure out how long they should be, I remembered something that happened when I was a teenager. My little baby brother, I think he was in about 3rd grade, he had to write a paper for his history class, and he asked me if I'd take a look at it and see what I thought about it. Well, it was quite concise. It said, Socrates was a Greek, he talked a lot, they killed him. So I thought that was pretty profound, and I thought I should probably heed that warning at least to some degree. You know, instead of giving you a prepared speech, I thought I'd just pull out a few pages from my diary. So I'm going to run through a few of those. Valentine's Day, 14th of February, 2003. Ship in the yards. Taking command of the fast combat support ship USS Seattle. What an honor. I'm sure fired up, but I must confess, a bit apprehensive. This is a big, complicated ship, and I'm just a dumb pilot. After being XO in Nimitz, I feel like I know a lot about running the departments and running programs that they have on an aircraft carrier, but that's not the same as being the captain. I hope I can fake my way through this. Little did I know at the time, at one point, the senior surface warfare officer on the ship would be a lieutenant. 1900, or 7 o'clock p.m., same day. When turning in his 9mm, an off-going watchstander inadvertently discharged the weapon into the overhead in the armory. Fortunately, no one was hurt, but I'm getting the 3rd degree from the powers that be about how could this ever happen. Welcome to command. I should have used the presidential excuse. Blame the last guy. March 2003 in the shipyard. Some of the senior crew members seem to be concerned about leaving the ship at night before I do. I told them that I hang around here all the time because I'm a lousy time manager and because I don't have a life. And neither of those are conditions to which they should aspire, so they should get the hell out of here and go home. Actually, that having a life thing might change since I'm crazy about the woman I've been seeing. Wonder how that will work out. April 2003 in the shipyard. Medical emergency, man down in 1 TAC 32 TAC 1 Juliet. Holy smokes, a contractor just fell off a ladder in a big tank. He dropped about 30 feet, bounced off a ledge, and then fell another 10 feet. We've got to both treat his wounds and do a deep extraction get him out of that tank, and he is not a small guy. Crew was magnificent though, and we got him out. The ship's doctor, all 5 feet of her, was on scene ASAP. I don't think she's ever even been to sea. And I could see she was a bit apprehensive about going down that ladder into that dark void. But I could also see that she felt like it was her job. I told her it was very safe as long as she just paid attention to what she was doing, and down she went. You know, I guess a tour in AOE3 will result in a lot of people expanding their personal envelopes a bit, especially me. June 2003. Finally ready to get underway and leave the yard. Hallelujah. I'm probably making myself look like a rookie, but I made a bunch of checklists and put them into a little binder like we use in airplanes. I'd rather look dumb than forget something. As usual, the professionals aboard this ship are doing a terrific job, and all I'm doing is backing them up. You know, one of the amazing things about this ship is the amount she can vary in weight. When she's full of 8 million gallons of fuel, 3,000 tons of ammunition, and piles of dry goods and refrigerated stores, she draws about 40 feet of water. That's about the same as a carrier. Right now, though, coming out of the yards, she's drawing about 17 feet. I feel like we're a cork up on top of the water. This is certainly a versatile and flexible ship. The guys who designed her must have burned up a few slide rules figuring out how to make her operate over such a wide range of conditions.
Okay, so he's resting.
Speaking of being light, the problem at the shipyard resulted in us getting underway with far less water than we should have aboard.
Okay.
Purified water is the lifeblood of a steamship. They consume a lot of it, And without it, there's no propulsion and there's no electricity.
Yeah, thanks, Emma. Okay.
Oh well, we're stopping overnight at Craney Island on our way out of the Elizabeth River to take on fuel. They tell me that water is available at the pier, and we've arranged to have purification trailers that we need meet us there. Later that day, Craney Island. Oh geez, the pier water hookups barely have enough pressure to pump water across to the ship. At this rate, it would take us 2 weeks to unload the huge quantity we need. We are in trouble. We tried to have water trucked in, but that solution was way too little, way too late. Great. First time out of the yards, we're going to look like idiots as we foul up the fleet schedule. I do not know how to solve this problem. But I forgot. I have a secret weapon, the American sailor. Some of the guys just came down to talk with me. They found a fire hydrant way up by the main road. And they think they could run a 5-inch hose all the way down here. Water from the city fireman, you gotta be kidding me. What about the quality? They replied, already checked it, Captain. It's well within what we can purify. Holy smokes. Let me call the city. I don't want to be responsible for someone's house burning down. I explained our predicament. They said, no problem. I then mentioned that we'd be taking a lot of water. And they only balked a little bit, so I said, that sounds like permission to me. Guys ran a 5-inch hose all the way down from the road, 5-inch fire hose all the way down, threw a splitter into 2 3-inch hoses, hooked each of those into the purification trailers we had down there, and we were in business. What a save, what a testament to the ingenuity of this crew. August 2003, Mid-Atlantic. We are really making it happen today. We got a 500-foot-long Arleigh Burke DDG on the port side, a 570-foot-long Ticonderoga cruiser on the starboard side, and the 3 of us are flying formation through the choppy Atlantic like we're the Blue Angels. We got 4 rigs over to port, pumping fuel and delivering food to the destroyer, 4 rigs over to starboard, passing gas, as we say, and moving ordnance onto the cruiser. And our 2 helicopters are transferring pallets between fantails as fast as they can go. And there are another 2 ships joining our formation to take their turns after these 2 are finished. What a circus. It's the dangest thing I've ever seen. The average citizen would be astounded by Seattle's ability to do all this highly technical and dangerous stuff effectively and efficiently. They'd be even more amazed in learning that most of the crew have not yet reached their 20th birthday. You know, the more I do it, the more I appreciate and take pride in the underway replenishment mission. On most combat ships, your mission is to be ready. And that's important, but sometimes it's hard to feel like you're actually accomplishing anything. On an oiler, you come to realize that delivering the goods is absolutely critical. If it keeps the whole Navy running, and if we fail, there's a significant gap in the nation's defenses, and it occurs very quickly. As we like to say, beans, bullets, and oil, baby. They make the Navy run, and the Navy keeps our nation safe. One of the truly special characteristics of this ship, with all due respect to the straight stick officers, is the burden that's carried by the LDOs and senior enlisted. I heard somebody say, hey, this is an LDO ship. The evolutions that we must conduct in the operation and maintenance of the highly specialized equipment really requires the leadership of guys and girls who have been there and done that a lot. I guess it's no wonder the Navy ensures we have some real experts to run the show. The other thing that's interesting is the prevalence of the supply and deck departments. Supple's the second senior guy on the ship. I suppose that demonstrates the importance and complexity, the challenges that must be tackled as we figure out how to schedule, maneuver, and store the massive quantities of that beans, bullets, and oil. The supply guys have been stellar in cracking that code. Day after day, incredible quantities of everything move on and off this ship. And none of it ever seems to zig when it should have zagged. At least I didn't see it. That's not to say that there isn't a huge amount of effort, both mental and physical, that must be invested by this whole crew to make that happen. And you know, deck's actually our biggest department. We've got a first lieutenant here who's known across the fleet. I've been surprised at the scope of the deck department. Those guys really have wide-ranging responsibilities to include not just the ones that I'm used to, but also operating and maintaining those complicated rigs that allow us to transfer so much stuff. I guess when you think about it, seamanship's what we do, and that's what the deck guys do. In any case, I'm sure glad that the Bureau has populated this ship with the highest caliber of both motivated young sailors and some experienced professionals, particularly in those areas. Without them, the mission would never happen. September 2003, in Port Norfolk. Looks like Hurricane Isabel is headed for Va Beach. And we need to get out of here so the ship isn't damaged as she sits moored to the pier. I shouldn't have done those shots before I spoke, I guess. Along with a bunch of other Navy ships, we'll steam pretty much east until we get north of the storm, then pass south to get behind the storm, and then turn northwest and just follow the storm back into the Hampton Roads. The crew is saying how they hate to be going to sea right now, since it means they must leave their families to weather the storm on their own. But we realize it's our duty to protect this expensive national asset that we call Seattle. 2 days later, we've been authorized to return to Norfolk Naval Station. As it works out, our turn in the sequence occurs late in the evening. It sure is a weird channel transit. All the population centers that are usually lit up like a Christmas tree are completely dark since they have no power. I'm glad the lights on the buoys marking the channel are working. Of course, my Cracker Jack nav team knows this channel pretty well by now. They could probably do this transit with their eyes closed. Next day. Well, the crew has had a chance to survey the damage at home. For the most part, everybody made out okay. Several have changed their positions just a bit, though, I noticed. Those who were reluctant about leaving their families during the storm are now asking if we could go back to sea. When I asked why, one of them said, "Captain, I've got 3 kids at home, and we're not going to have power for a week. You're driving me nuts. Please, get me out of here." Sorry, shipmate, you're going to have to tough this one out. October 2003, underway. Holy smokes, the sea state is pretty impressive. We're plowing through 25-foot waves. We're rocking and rolling a bit, but really not doing that badly. I guess when you have 800 feet of water line and you weigh 50,000 tons, you can just tell King Neptune to bring it. Next day, things have smoothed out a lot. We were able to transfer fuel to a bunch of ships that really needed it. We just finished with our last customer, a frigate. Now we're both headed the same way, and hey, I think he wants to race. Engineering, are we ready to whip the ponies? Yes, Captain, no problem. Very well, all ahead flank. You know, this ship is a big monster, but when they open those throttles, she steps out pretty as you please. Looks like we're pushing 30 knots. Interesting that the new oilers are building at a maximum speed of 17 knots. I guess that's why they call Seattle a fast combat support ship. That frigate got a little jump on us initially, but now she's falling behind. Probably because she can't afford the high fuel burn that these high speeds entail. I guess we should think about that too, but what the heck? We'll just burn a little more fuel. That's one of the luxuries you have when you're packing 5 million gallons of DFA. And of course, this old ship can only perform like she does thanks to the crew. One of the great experiences I've had in Seattle was a chance to get to know some real steam engineers. They're a different breed from the nuclear guys. In fact, they're pretty much different from anybody else. I don't know how they survive in those engineering spaces, which are frequently over 120 degrees. Those snipes are as dedicated and as mission-focused as any group I've ever met. On top of that, they just tend to be great guys. The term salt of the earth often occurs to me. December 2003. We're making our way down the East Coast for some ops off Florida. I see that we'll be passing by Cape Hatteras in the wee hours of the morning. Diamond Shoals there have a lot of history and about 600 shipwrecks. We used to call it the graveyard of the Atlantic. In my night orders, I wrote, "And keep us off the Diamond Shoals, please," just as a joke. After all, those wrecks happened back in the day, before they had all these sophisticated navigation systems we have now. Speaking of navigation gizmos, I had Suppo get me a commercial GPS plotter just so I can back up the nav calculations myself, and just because I like to play with gizmos. Next morning. Wow, it's a beautiful day. While I'm eating breakfast, I think I'll just check the historical course for last night on my GPS plotter. Holy smokes, we were headed right for the Diamond Shoals last night, and turned out just in time to stay off of them. Needless to say, I'll be looking into this situation. And I never got a call. Next day. Well, it was a classic case of a course correction being made to get us back on our planned track, the counter correction being forgotten, and several people thinking that that's where the OOD was trying to go. Thank goodness someone finally spoke up. All the OODs, the first lieutenant and the navigator, had a big meeting and came to me with a corrective action plan, which I approved. Definitely a lesson learned for some JOs, and for the rest of the bridge team, for that matter.